And now it's my honor to introduce Jessa Fogel, who will give the student farewell. Jessa is a thorough, inquisitive student who brings the highest work ethic to her studies, and that dedication is matched by her athletic prowess. She is an amazing athlete in two of the most demanding of sports, cross-country running and Nordic skiing. She is an all-New Hampshire skier and runner and has been named Skier of the Year. She has a developed creative side as well, earning honors for fiction and for visual art. Jessa will attend Dartmouth in the fall. I give you Jessa.
I'd like to begin with a quote from my very favorite novel, Life of Pi by Yann Martel. For anyone who is unfamiliar with the book, it is a narrative from the perspective of Pi, the teenage son of a successful zookeeper and the follower of three religions: Hinduism, Christianity, and Islam. When political crisis strikes their native India, Pi's family decides to board a Japanese cargo ship to Canada with their menagerie. The ship goes down in a storm, and only Pi survives. Well, not only Pi. Actually, he finds himself stuck in a lifeboat for 227 days with a Bengal tiger named Richard Parker, as well as several other animals who don't last very long. Anyway, at the end of the book, Pi is forced to explain his adventure to a couple officers in the Japanese Ministry of Transport who are investigating the cause of the ship sinking. They are reluctant to believe Pi's tale of his adventures at sea with Richard Parker, but Pi responds to their skepticism by saying something I find very insightful. He says, "If you stumble at mere believability, what are you living for? Love is hard to believe. Ask any lover. Life is hard to believe. Ask any scientist. God is hard to believe. Ask any believer. What is your problem with hard to believe?" Class of 2013, it is hard to believe that senior year has come and gone. It's hard to believe I've known many of you for 6 years now. And it's hard to believe, for me at least, that we'll each be attending a school that is in Derryfield next year. And I don't think I'm alone in that. It seems as though everybody, at least to some degree, is experiencing feelings of doubt, perhaps even denial, that come with facing such a big change. That being said, I think it would be unwise to act like those Japanese investigators and get bogged down by mere believability. I mean, take a moment to remember what you were like as freshmen at Derryfield, and then look at yourself now. It's probably hard to believe how much you've changed since then. But don't be afraid to allow yourself to grow and change even more after you leave the safe haven of Derryfield, because who you are now still isn't the end product. There are new friends, new experiences that will continue to shape you. Instead, you should revel in the uncertainty and novelty of being on your own for the first time and embrace the possibilities that are so hard to believe. For example, it may seem doubtful to you now, but I bet some of you will meet your best friend during the next 4 years, maybe even your future husband or wife. Maybe you're going to college thinking you're going to be an engineer and you emerge as a history major. Hard to believe, perhaps, but definitely not impossible. And I'm quite sure that every single one of you has a talent you haven't discovered yet, so you better not let hard to believe get in your way of finding it. If what I've been hearing about college and life is true, it sounds like the key to success is to loosen your perception of yourself a little bit. Sure, if you found something you love already, stick with it. But don't get so stuck thinking of yourself as being a certain way that you're afraid to try anything new. If you open your mind to new experiences and new possibilities, hard to believe becomes a much smaller obstacle standing in the way of your success. So, be like Pi, and free yourself from the constraints of believability and pesky perceptions of your past self. At the very least, unless you're majoring in zoo management or something, you probably won't get mauled by a Bengal tiger if you try something new and screw up. Of course, I suspect there will be times in all of your journeys when it's not smooth sailing. You'll go through a period of self-doubt. Richard Parker will bare his teeth at you and snarl menacingly. The water will get rough. Ocean waves will crash over your head and threaten to drown you. But if there's one thing that's not hard for me to believe, having gotten to know most of you pretty well by now, is that you guys are strong enough, smart enough, and great enough to tackle anything college or life throws at you. Whether that metaphorical tiger in your lifeboat is challenging class, fear of failure, overwhelmingly busy schedule, or just a really, really annoying roommate, I'm confident that you'll handle it with the resourcefulness, knowledge, and patience of even the most thoroughly trained zookeeper, as well as with the grace and maturity of a Derryfield graduate. I sincerely hope you can all believe that, because I know it's true. So my advice to you, class of 2013, is to accept the hard to believe. Embrace it, because oftentimes the hardest thing to believe in is yourself and your abilities. And while part of me hates to offer up a phrase as cliche as believe in yourself, as sincere advice to such a thoughtful and intelligent group of people, as a character in my favorite movie, The Social Network, once said, just because something is trite, that doesn't make it any less true. So, now that I've included quotes from not only my favorite book, but my favorite movie as well, I'm going to stop myself right there and tell you in my very own words that you all had better believe in yourselves, because there's absolutely nothing not to believe in. You're 56 of the smartest, most compassionate, loyal, loving, and wonderful people I've had the great fortune of growing up with. More than anything else, it was your talent, your passion, your work ethic that inspired me to make the most of my time here at Derryfield. All I can say now is thank you for everything, and I wish only the very best for each and every one of you, because that's truly what you are, the very best.